All right, what is going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. Well, Monday is over. We got a 15-game slate. Fun day. All right, recap. Minnesota, Cleveland under 8. Cash that. It was 4-3 Cleveland. Angels first 5 minus a half. Reed Detmers. What the shit, dude? He was giving up a home run derby. I didn't realize that there was going to be a home run derby tonight, but there was. He shelled out 3 home runs. Andrew Benintendi hit 2 home runs, had 4 RBIs, so that sucked. They lost 8-4 against the White Sox. Detroit and Kansas City under 8.5. Reese Olson did end up pitching. Lugo started off really good. We were looking decent on this number, and then Casey threw up 4. I'm like, it's all right, 8.5. And then Detroit ran off 7 runs, and we ended up losing 7-6. Cool. Phillies first 5. Ranger Suarez threw a really, really good game. I think he gave up 4 hits. It's just one of those hits were pretty impactful. Ended up giving 3 earned runs. So they ended up losing that game. Cool. Cubs first 5 minus a half. About the only sweat-free thing we had today was that one. Pirates first 5 minus a half. I believe I said I could see this being 1-0, which it was. It was just the other way around. Pirates suck. Diamonds first 5 minus a half. That one was a little sweaty, but we got the job done 2-1. Let me just go on a little rant here for a second. D-backs. What the hell was the thinking? Right, they scored 2 in the first inning. I'm like, we're chilling. 2-0. They're gonna roll them. That's all they scored for the entire game. That's it in Colorado. 2-2, bottom of the 9th. They give up a leadoff single. Ryan McMahon's up. And they intentionally walk him. What? Why would you put the winning run in scoring position with no outs? So confusing. And then the best part is the guy hits into a double play ball and the shortstop throws it away and the guy on second ends up scoring because of the error. What the shit? The 9th inning curse continues. I hate the 9th inning. They should just play 8 innings. I want to see baseball move to 8 innings because the 9th inning has just bent me over and railed me for the past 2 weeks. End of rant. All right, Philly ended up losing. Angels ended up losing. Pittsburgh ended up losing. So we kind of crushed the second one. Fun parlay. Yeah, no. Upset parlay. Actually looking pretty good. We just needed Houston to win, but they didn't. They ended up losing 3-1, I believe. We went 5-5 on the day. Kind of crappy, especially when you hit your 8, 9, and 10 picks. It is what it is. Prop leans, we hit the first 2. Sanchez under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Rooker over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And then we end up losing the last 3. Cannon popped off for like 7 Ks. Arrighetti ended up with 3. And I don't think Darvish hit this. I guess he may have. I don't think he did. He was only at 3. I'm going to assume he didn't. Nerfies, we did good. Went 3-1 on Nerfies. I believe the Padres, it was Houston, ended up scoring 1 in the top of the first, and I think that was the only run they scored. So it is what it is. Recording this really late, or depending how you look at it, really early in the morning. So we don't have hot and cold matchups. We don't have bullpen review. It's okay. I think we're going to be all right. Standings review, really the only thing to talk about, the O's are 3 games back, opening up a very important series against the Giants. Royals have lost 2 in a row now, so they are letting the Tigers kind of creep in a little bit. Tigers are a game and a half back of the Twins. Obviously, the Twins lost as well. So now we've got the Twins and the Mariners in giving themselves a chance here. Game and a half back for the Tigers, 2 games back for the Mariners. So that should be interesting. And then in the NL, the Braves are only 1 game up in the wild card. So Mets are, the Braves are 1 game back of the Mets. So that should be interesting. And then we've got the D-backs who are only 1 game up in the wild card as well. So they need to get their shit together in a hurry. All right, let's open up this slate review. Giants and the Orioles. So another thing to know is I don't know the weather conditions. So that is a decent factor here. Especially we are going to do some over-under. So that makes it a little sketchy on that. But if there is a change, I'll post it in the comments tomorrow morning. All right, Orioles and the Giants. Blake Snell going up against Albert Suarez. This is a tough one. Snell 4.46 away ERA. Suarez 3.23 home ERA. First instinct is to say, hey, Snell's on the mound. Let's back him. But he did face this team on August 16th. Went 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks. Orioles have been red hot against left-handed hitting. They have sucked lately. Lefties are not an area they have sucked in. They have scored 3+ earned runs against the last 6 left-handed starters. So in the last 32.1 innings versus lefties, they have scored 24 earned runs. I know their bats are ice cold, but lefties could be the remedy here. And then if we look at the Giants, they have not scored an earned run off a right-handed starter in the last 18 innings. So that's 3 pitchers that have gone 6 innings each. They've only given up 9 hits combined. That said, that 4th game before that against Colin Rea on September 11th, they popped off for 10 earned runs. So sticks have been kind of cold. They're traveling across the country. I'm going to go Orioles. Snell, I don't know. He's been okay lately, but he's had some control issues. I could see him maybe walking 1 or 2 guys and then giving up like a blast here. So I'll take the Orioles in this spot. They just need it more. The Giants are literally playing for nothing, whereas the Orioles are trying to kind of get themselves in the form as the playoffs are coming here. So I'll take the Orioles at -102, I believe. All right, Twins Guardians, Zebby Matthews going up against Gavin Williams. Not a game I really love. Guardians ended up pulling out yesterday. Williams has a 7 home ERA. Zebby Matthews about a 5.5 away. If we look at Williams, he has already pitched against this team 3 times since 2023. He's 2-0 with a 1.50 ERA. So he's pitched really well against them. This year he's only pitched in 1 game. That was about a month ago. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Now, that said, he's given up 11 earned in his last 3 home starts, 2+ earned runs in 4 of his last 6 games. So it makes me hesitate a little bit. Zebby Matthews on the other side, 15 earned runs in his last 3, 6 earned runs in 2 away games. So he's only pitched 2 away games, so we don't have a lot to go off of. But I just don't like this Zebby Matthews guy. He's very, very hittable. We look at his pitch splits. Guardians are number 2 the last 30 days in hitting the fastball. That's going to be his primary pitch. He throws a fastball and a cutter. We look at Gavin Williams. Twins are, second last 30 days hitting the cutter, but they're almost dead last hitting the fastball. So I just really don't trust this Twins offense yet. We're not there yet. I'm going to go Guardians. My only concern is they had to use a decent amount of arms in that pen tonight. Little bit of cause for concern there. We'll have to see, but I think Williams should give them a strong 5 or 6 innings. That's what they're going to need out of him. But like I said, we're in a tightly contested race. This is a divisional matchup, so they will be somewhat quick to go to the pen. I think Boyd only threw about 64 pitches tonight or something like that. It wasn't a ton. All right, Braves, Reds, Grant Holmes going. Now, I've also seen Ian Anderson going. So this could be where Grant Holmes is maybe an opener. I'm not real sure. I've seen both names. And Brandon Williamson for the Reds. Williamson, 1.86 away ERA. Only pitched in 2 games. If we look at Holmes, he has been out for a little bit now. He's got a 3.86 away ERA, I believe, because he was in that kind of spot rotation starting role. If we look at Ian Anderson, if he does play, he hasn't pitched in the majors since 2022. So he's got about a 4 ERA, 1.33 whip in 52 games. We look at Brandon Williamson. He has only given up 3 earned runs in 3 games. So he was injured. So this is only his 4th start of the year. If we look at Atlanta, they've only scored 4 earned runs off the last 3 left-handed starters, and they weren't overpowering great starters, right? So Mackenzie Gore, Austin Gomber, and Kyle Freeland. So not exactly studs. And they've scored 2 or less earned runs versus 6 of the last 7 left-handed starters. So why the hell am I taking the Braves? System play for me. They got absolutely destroyed, 9-0 by the Dodgers. They are traveling. They are fighting for the wild card. Reds are literally playing for nothing. They score really bad at home. The Reds are one of the worst teams in terms of runs scored at home. So just a more meaningful game for the Braves. I think they get up. You guys know if you watch these videos, I love taking teams that got smoked the day before. It's just a good system play that more often than not pays off. All right, next game, Dodgers and the Marlins. We got Bobby Miller going up against Darren McCaughan. It is really hard to trust that the Dodgers are going to win with Miller pitching, especially at -198. I struggle with this. That said, McCaughan hasn't been great. He's given up 8 earned runs in his last 3 games, 3 earned runs in his last 3 home games. So he has been pretty good at home. It just feels like a get-right spot for Bobby Miller. Call me crazy here, but I feel like he actually pitches a pretty decent game. We're going to get this 11.39 away ERA down. So, and another system play. Marlins first game of a series, they're just not good. They're going to lose a lot that first game of the series. So I'm going to go Dodgers here. Actually, I don't know. Gut feeling says Miller pitches fantastic, and the Dodgers should be able to jump on McCoffin early. Most teams have gotten 2 or 3 runs right off the bat from him. All right, Red Sox, Rays. Nick Pivetta going up against Shane Baz. My God, my mouth's so dry. Hold on. All right, Pivetta. 4.19 away ERA, Baz a 4 home ERA. We look at Pivetta, he's got about a 4.5 career ERA versus Tampa in 12 games since 2021. So, 4.42, not a great ERA. If we look at Pivetta, he has already pitched against this Rays team in Boston, went 5.2 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs earlier in the year. If we look at Pivetta, he's been trending really good. Only 4 earned runs in his last 3, 10 earned runs in his last 3 away games. That said, against some pretty good teams, the Tigers, the Astros, and the Orioles. All teams kind of in that playoff hunt right now. But I really like the way Baz has been pitching. He's given up 5 earned runs in his last 3, 7 earned runs in his last 3 home games. That said, he's only had 2 home starts since the beginning of August. So I really like how he's been trending, and I think he will pitch better at home. So to me, I'm just going to go Rays in this situation. I don't think they get a bunch off of him, and Pivetta is known to give up some pretty hard hit balls. So kind of a coin flippy game. Not going to bet it, but I would go Rays. All right, Nats and the Mets. Mets eked one out today. It was a little sketchy. They were down 1-0 after the 7th inning, tied it in the 8th, and then won it in the 10th. So Mitchell Parker going up against old Tyler Meatball McGill. McGill's been pitching really well since he's been recalled. He's only given up 4 earned runs in his last 3 games since being recalled. Last start, he gave up 1 hit and 3 earned runs versus Boston. That can't be right. That must be home. That was a home start. All right, never mind. Scratch that. So we look at Parker. He's given up a 6.25 away ERA. Old Meatball's got about a little under a 4.5 home ERA. Mitchell Parker did face this Mets team on July 3rd, and they got to him a little bit. 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 Ks. So 5s were wild for him. He's given up 7 earned in his last 3, 15 earned in his last 3 away games. So not been good, but he really hasn't pitched away in a while. So 6 of his last 8 starts have been at home. So I like to fade him here, especially that wonderful 6.25 ERA. We look at McGill, though. The only thing that concerns me, he doesn't have a great track record versus Washington. He's got almost a 6 ERA versus them. He did pitch against them once this year at Washington. Gave up 4 earned in 5 innings. So a little bit concerning, but he's been pitching really well lately. So I like for them to get the job done. Just didn't see a lot of offense, so hopefully we see a little more offense than what we saw today. The Mets hitting splits look good against lefties. The Nats have been a little struggling against righties. Last 30 days, old Meatball's struggling against lefties a little bit. He's given up a 3.10 average, but he's doing really well against righties, giving up a sub-1 average to them. All right, we got Tigers, we got Royals. Cole Reagan's going up against Casey Mize. I like Kansas City first 5, but I guess I would go full game. Their bullpen is giving me some concern. A little heartburn there with that bullpen. That ERA is really trending up, and the Tigers have the best bullpen in terms of ERA. Over the last 30 days, their FIP's pretty good. They're 3rd in FIP, 5th in expected FIP. So I would lean Royals more on the first 5. But if we look at Cole Reagan's 3.57 home ERA, Mize a 5 away ERA. Reagan's 11.2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs in 2 games versus this team so far this year. 1 was at home, 1 was away. So he's had some success versus this team. If we look at Tigers, man, they've just kind of struggled against lefties. They got 2 earned runs against Cade Povich and the Orioles in the last left-hander they saw, but the 2 previous to that, they didn't score any. So a little bit of a struggle bus against the lefties. If we look at Reagan's, he's got 7 earned runs in his last 3. That said, he's had an uphill battle here. So he had to face the Yankees in New York, where he gave up 2, faced the Twins at home, didn't give up any, and he faced the Houston in Houston, and he gave up 5. So a little tough there. He's given up 10 earned runs in his last 3 home starts, and those teams weren't exactly stellar. So I could see a path here, especially taking the Tigers at plus 142. I just really don't love Mize. He's given up 10 earned runs in his last 3 starts since returning, so I don't love him. He's faced this Royals team 2 times already this year, and it wasn't great. He's given up 8 earned runs. He gave up 6 earned runs in his last start, and he only lasted, he didn't even make it out of the second inning. So Royals are probably feeling pretty good facing him. I think we see it in the minus 170 price. I hate laying it, but Casey needs this win, so I do think they get the job done against the Tigers. All right, Phillies and the Brewers. Phillies let us down. I can't believe they didn't just rock Savali, but it is what it is. Zach Wheeler, Frankie Montas. It's important to remember both of these teams pretty much have their divisions wrapped up, so, how much effort's going to be there, I don't know. But Zach Wheeler, 2.99 away ERA. Frankie the Fade Montas, a 4 home ERA. If we look at Wheeler, he's pitched very well against this Brewers team. He's got 5 games against them since 2021, a little over a 2 ERA, 33 innings pitched, 25 hits, so you would really like to see that down a little bit, but he's only given up 8 earned runs, so he's been able to work out of some jams. If we look at Wheeler, he did face this team already this year, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks, so good start, but it was at home in Philly. If we look at Wheeler, trending really well. He's only given up 3 in his last 3, given up 5 in his last 3 away games. That was against the Marlins, the Braves, and the D-backs. So 2 pretty tough teams. But he's on a nice little streak here. So he's got the win in 4 games, and I believe 5 of his last 7, something like that. So he's on a nice little run there. If we look at Frankie the Fade, he faced this Philly team in Philly in April and did really well. 5.2 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run. That said, it was a long time ago in April. If we look at Montas, he has pitched in 8 games with Milwaukee. He's got 45 innings total, 17 earned runs, and 7 earned runs in his last 3. So it's kind of trending, giving up a little more his last 3. He's pitched 2 home games for the Brewers where he's given up 3 earned runs. So I gotta fade Frankie. Can't back away from Wheeler. Ultimately, I think the Phillies had the better offense. I don't like Frankie in this situation. The over is 7. Could definitely see the over hitting. So I do like that over. That will no doubt probably jump to 7.5 at some point. Next game, A's and the Cubs. We've got Jordan Wicks going up against Mitch Spence. Spence has been pitching pretty well. He's given up 5 in his last 3. 5 earned runs in his last 3 away games as well, and that was against the Astros, the Rangers, and the Reds. If we look at Wicks, he's got a little over a 3.5 home ERA, given up 11 earned in his last 3. He faced a pretty tough stretch there. He had to go at the Dodgers, had to play New York at home, so a bit of a tricky one there. He's only given up 5 earned runs in his last 3 home starts, and against the Yankees, the Cardinals, and the Astros. So obviously the Cards haven't been hitting, but Yankees and Astros, pretty tough task. If we look at Oakland, same thing I said yesterday. They are struggling against left-handed pitchers, man. They have only gotten 6 earned runs off the last 5 now. Now that said, you've got Imanaga, you've got Crochet, I think Scooble was in there, so pretty tough task, but we're just not seeing them hit lefties. So we'll keep continuing to fade them until we see they can hit a lefty. We look at Spence, he's given up a 311 average to lefties, given up a 278 average to righties. So I like guys, maybe depending on the wind, like a Bellinger or a Happ to hit a home run today, something like that. We look at Wicks, 360 to lefties, 286 to righties. So it'll be one of those games where we see a lot of runs. Unfortunately, we don't have the over-under out for this one yet, but I imagine neutral win, these 2 pitchers, it's going to be somewhere around 8 to 9. All right, Pirates and the Cardinals. Bailey Falter going up against Lance Lynn. So if we look at Lance Lynn, he's one of the few pitchers for the Cards that actually pitch better at home. He's got a 3.30 home ERA. Falter close to about a 5 away ERA. Falter's got a 4 career ERA versus St. Louis over 4 games. Pitched against them earlier this year at St. Louis. He went 4 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs. So Not great there. We know the Cardinals' offense has just been absolutely sputtering. They have been struggling to score runs for 3 or 4 series now. If we look at Falter, 7 earned runs in his last 3, 9 earned runs in his last 3 away games, but kind of had a tough stretch there. He faced the Guardians, where he gave up 3, faced the Dodgers, where he gave up 4, faced the Astros, gave up 1. So 8 earned runs versus those 3 teams. I would say that's fairly acceptable. If we look at Lance Lynn, he's already pitched against this Pirates team twice already this year, 1 home, 1 away. A little over 9 innings total. Gave up 3 earned runs. All 3 of those were actually in his 1 home start versus the Pirates. So he shut them out in Pittsburgh. If we look at Lynn, 9-11 versus Cincinnati. I don't know why I put Cincinnati. So that has no sense at all. It is clearly very late at night. But anyway, this will be his... oh, okay. I know why I put it now. I remember. So he's only had 1 start since he came back from injury. So that was against Cincinnati, where he went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run. So prior to that, it had been July 30th since he had pitched. It's really late, but we remembered. All right, moving on. Blue Jays and the Rangers, Chris Bassett, Nathan Eovaldi. At first, I thought this was going to be a really good game. Like, oh, wow, this is... Bassett pitches well away. Eovaldi pitches well at home. Not so much. They really don't do well against the respective teams. So we look at Bassett last year versus Texas. Gave up 8 earned runs over 2 starts. Eovaldi's got a 7 ERA versus Toronto since 2022. So he's got 4 games where he's only made it 17 innings, 23 hits, 14 earned runs. So both of these guys like to give up runs to the respective teams. Bassett's been trending in a pretty good direction. 5 earned in his last 3, 9 earned run in his last 3 away games. That said, he really hasn't pitched away a lot. His last 3 away games span August 28th to July 30th. So it's been quite a while since he's pitched away. It's been almost 3 weeks. We look at Eovaldi, 6 earned in his last 3. 10 earned in his last 3 home starts. That said, it was the Yankees, Twins, and Boston. So kind of a tough stretch there. I'll take the Rangers. I like Eovaldi at home. That said, his pitch splits don't look great. And the Blue Jays have been hitting quite a bit better than the Rangers. But I just trust that they're going to show up at home. I don't really like Bassett struggling against lefties, giving up a 471 WOBA. Whereas Eovaldi's got a 283 WOBA to lefties, 235 to righties. So his splits look a little bit better there. All right, D-backs and the Rockies. Maybe they'll just intentionally walk the first 2 hitters today. Fuck it. Just come right out the gate. Yeah, just put them right on base, see if you can get them out. Cool. Good job, guys. I'm not bitter at all. All right, Jordan Montgomery slated to throw. Going up against Ryan Feltner. Montgomery, about a 5.5 away ERA. Feltner, 6.25 home ERA. Got to remember it's Coors Field, too. If we look at Montgomery, he did pitch against this Rockies team about a month ago. Did pretty good in Arizona. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. One of the few games he actually was fairly serviceable in. If we look at Montgomery, 7 earned in his last 3 games. That said, that spans 8.2 innings. So he's given up 7 in 8 innings, 11 earned runs in his last 3 away games. And again, that's 11.2 innings. So he's basically given up about a run an inning. A little scary. If we look at Feltner, he did face this team earlier. Went pretty good. We look at Feltner. Faced this team in Arizona really earlier in the year. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. Feltner's given up 8 earned in his last 3, 8 earned in his last 3 home. So I actually like the way he's been trending. He's been pitching quite well. My only problem is Colorado has not been hitting left-handed starters. If we look, they've had 5 earned runs against the last 6 left-handed starters. That said, it's a pretty good group of pitchers for the most part. You got Tariq Skubal, Chris Sale, Rodon. You got Patrick Corbin, Mitchell Parker, DJ Hers. So a little decent group there. Do I think the D-backs lose 2 in a row in Colorado in a tightly contested race for the wild card? No. I think they'll be very quick to hook Montgomery if he is struggling. All right. White Sox and the Angels. Davis Martin going up against Griffin Canning. Canning is just an absolute wild card, and you don't know what you're going to get out of him. Let's see, 62% of his starts this year, so 18 of 29 starts, he has given up at least 3 earned runs. And then in 13 of 29 starts, so a little under 50%, he's given up 4 earned runs. So you kind of get like 1 or 6 out of him, it seems like. If we look at Canning, his last game at Minnesota, he went 5.2 innings, 9 hits, 9 earned runs. But he had only given up 4 earned runs in the previous 3 games. So he had this stretch where he's pitching really, really well, and then he got absolutely shit on in Minnesota. So I kind of feel like the trend is he's going to get pooped on today too. If we look at Martin, last game versus Cleveland, he went 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned. So he had a rough stretch there. But prior to that, he had pitched really well. He'd only given up 3 earned in his last 3 games. So I kind of like, I can't back Griffin Canning at minus 170. I just can't do it. That said, I'm not going to bet this game. Hey, I don't know. White Sox, maybe. I like Canning. We're not really seeing... I don't know. It's an ugly game. Ugly game. Well, this is an interesting game. Yankees and the Mariners. So we've got Luis Hill going up against Brian Woo. If we look at Hill, 3.29 away ERA. Woo, a 1.66 home ERA. At first, I kind of thought Woo, right? You back Woo. And then this is kind of interesting. So Hill and Woo both have 11.1 innings pitched against the other team. Hill has given up 3 hits, no earned runs. Woo, 4 hits, no earned runs. So neither one of these pitchers have given up an earned run to the other team. Hill has 16 Ks in 2 games, and Woo has 12 Ks. Now, Woo did this both times in New York, so this will be the first time he's actually faced the Yankees at home. If we look at Woo, he's given up 8 earned runs in his last 3 games, 6 earned runs in his last 3 home games. Gave up 2 to the Padres, 1 to the Giants, 3 to the Tigers. I think there is definitely a path where New York wins this. They're favored at minus 120. I've tried to fade Woo a couple times this year, and it's kind of burned me. My only concern with Hill is, will he have control? His walk rate of 12.3% scares the shit out of me, whereas Woo has a 2.5% walk rate. This guy does not walk people. We haven't exactly seen the Yankees tear the cover off the ball over the last 2 weeks. We know the Mariners, I mean, technically they're a top 10 offense. It's just, flip a coin on any given day. They could be a top 2 offense or a bottom 2. You don't know. I would take the Mariners at plus money. I'm backing Woo. Maybe looking at under. Actually, the over is favored in that game, but I would maybe lean towards under 7. All right, Astros and the Padres. Hunter Brown going up against Michael King. Brown, a little under a 4 away ERA. King, a little under a 3.5 home ERA. If we look at Hunter Brown, he did face this Padres team about a year ago. Didn't go so well for him. That said, he's trending in a pretty good direction. He's had 5 earned runs in his last 3 games. All 5 of those came in his last start. So he had back-to-back shutouts in terms of starts. He's only given up 3 earned runs in his last 3 away games against the Reds, the Orioles, and the Red Sox. We'll look at Michael King, 6 games versus Houston since 2022. Those were all when he was with the Yankees as a reliever, and he gave up 3 earned runs over 10 innings. So can't really judge a whole lot off of that, considering he was only pitching 1, maybe 2 innings at a time. If we look at King, 4 earned runs in his last 3 games, 4 earned runs in his last 3 home starts. That was against the Giants, the Mets, and the Twins. So I like the way King's pitching. I think the Padres offensively are just the better team. Pitch splits for Brown don't look great. We see the Padres basically top 10 in, 70% of the pitches he throws. So should be in pretty decent shape there. If we look at the last 14, last 7 days, Padres are just a better hitting team. If we look at the pitch splits for Brown, they're pretty good over the last 30 days. Only giving up a 186 average to lefties, 200 to righties. King, a little bit higher, 242 to lefties, 250 to righties. So I think you can make a case for the Astros here. I think home field advantage here. I just like the Padres. Give me the Padres right now. All right. Pitch sheet didn't complete. Obviously, we don't know. I don't know most of the K props, so there was a couple I knew that I liked, but didn't know them all. All right, let's get into the best bets. So we got Braves money line minus 118. We already talked about this. Very important game for the Braves. Completely meaningless game for the Reds. Minnesota Cleveland over 8. Zebby Matthews, Gavin Williams. We already talked about Gavin Williams giving up 2 earned runs in basically every start, it feels like. Zebby Matthews, one of these guys are getting rocked. I'm fairly confident in that. I feel like it's going to be Zebby Matthews. All right, give me Philly and Milwaukee over 7. A little scary with Zach Wheeler, but Frankie the Fade Montas saw a fairly anemic Philly offense yesterday. I just feel like they bounced back, so I like the over 7 here. And then I know this is heavily juiced, but give me the New York and Seattle Nerfy at minus 140. I trust Heel and Woo can get through the first inning, so I'll pay the juice. And then Houston San Diego over 7. So I like that spot. I think the Padres get to Brown. I think Kings should give up 2. I think Padres bullpen maybe gives up 1 to 2 more, so I like that over 7 spot. Parlays I like, so just going with 4 2-legs. So we're going to play it a little conservative here. So give me the Braves and the Dodgers, Mets and the Cubs, Philly and Kansas City, and San Diego and Cleveland. Fun parlay. You guys can see that. A little 5-team for plus 1,268. And the upset parlay, give me the Orioles, the Rays, and the White Sox at plus 823. So we'll back Davis Martin going up against Griffin Canning in the upset parlay. You can kind of see the leans here. They haven't put out the Rangers, so I don't know what they are. Don't care, not touching that game. Prop leans I like. Ryan Feltner over 3.5 Ks at minus 135. Gavin Williams under 6.5 Ks at plus money. Jordan Wicks over 4.5 Ks at minus 125. Frankie the Fade Montas under 5.5 Ks at minus 125. Zebby Matthews over 2.5 earned runs at plus 100. Ian Happ and Byron Buxton over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at minus 120 and plus 100. Buxton is over this in 4 of his last 5 games, so I do think Williams is hittable, so I think Buxton should continue that streak. Nerfies I like would be the Giants and the Orioles, and Yankees and Seattle. All right, so that is going to do it for me. 32 minutes long. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, hit that sub button if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in the next video.